Indoraptor gathered enough information. He ran back to his territory. Blue was lucky enough to get there before he did. They greeted each other. They then told each other everything. Indoraptor was at least thankful that there are some herbivores on this island that can defend each other, that can defend themselves from the Scorpius Rexes. And then, Blue was shocked at the fact that the second Scorpius Rex was drawn to the fire. Could the first one also be drawn to fire as well? Then they both know that fire is how they're going to lure them. But the question remained, where are they going to get the fire? That was the bigger question. The fire was a different story. They don't necessarily command fire. But then Indoraptor remembered that humans, most of them were smoking in the laboratory. Then he mentioned, if the humans can control fire, then they must leave something behind for younger humans to follow the same rule. Control fire. Blue remembered all the field guides being in Main Street. Rexy's territory was there. So how are they going to get the book or get anything on how to control fire without getting Rexy mad? But then again, Indoraptor reminded Blue that Rexy trusts her the most. Trusts Blue the most. So Blue offered to talk to Rexy, allowing them into her territory. Just long enough so they could find a way on how they could command fire. On Main Street, Rexy was managed to agree. She was lucky enough to not have an encounter with the Scorpius Rex. But she mainly thought that it was the Mosasaurus that was keeping Scorpius Rexes from coming near here. So, Rexy got lucky to have a huge bodyguard. But the other thing was, the Mosasaurus got done eating the Indominus Rex's remains. It spat the bones out. So it might be intros on having a new meal. But after hearing what Blue and Indoraptor told them, I don't think Scorpius Rex will do well with the Mosasaurus. Unless they can somehow cut off its tail, its primary weapon. If they can somehow cut it off without getting themselves attacked by it, it might be an advantage. But Indoraptor and Blue were going to stick with their main option, and their only option. Rexy volunteered to help, but Blue and Indoraptor don't want to put her in danger. Besides, the Scorpius Rex can easily take her down. But then again, Rexy mentioned how she has tools that can actually break the Scorpius Rex's tail. And so, Blue and Indoraptor agreed to allow her to help. Indoraptor was drawing a planned strategy on how they're going to kill the Scorpius Rexes. They'll lure them here onto Main Street with fire. Then, at the right moment, Rexy breaks their tails with a large rock. And after that, suddenly they heard something. It was the Scorpius Rexes, alright. They then looked and saw the Scorpiuses were fighting each other. They told Rex on how aggressive the Scorpius Rex was, but not like this. The Scorpius is so aggressive that it's willing to fight its own kind. Other dinosaurs do fight each other for territory, right? And they're the same. Most dinosaurs, if they're in the same species, they do fight for territory. But Blue and Indoraptor never saw the Scorpiuses making a territory or claiming a land as their own. They just roam around to other territories, killing other dinosaurs. So that gives them a new plan. If the Scorpius Rex end up fighting each other on Main Street, that gives Rexy enough time to grab a rock and throw it at them, breaking their tails. Then at the right moment, Indoraptor grabs one of them by the tail, and rips their tails off. With the help of Rexy. So it was settled. All they had to do is find a way how to control fire. Blue and Indoraptor started looking around at human structures, looking through their books, trying to find a way on how they can lure the Scorpius Rexes, or how they can start fire, let alone how to control it. Then Indoraptor found one. He then told Blue or Rexy that they need gasoline. And Rexy remembered a huge gas station nearby. She led Blue and Indoraptor to the gas station, and then boom. And luckily enough, Blue found a human lighter, but she didn't know how to use it. Luckily, Indoraptor has opposable thumbs, so luckily for them, he was managed to somehow use it. He was in the laboratory way longer than any other dinosaur, so he knows how humans do things. And just like that, they had the bait. Rexy offered them to spend the night in her place for a little bit, knowing that they feel way safer here, rather than their old territory. Indoraptor and Blue looked at each other, knowing that tomorrow will be the day that they kill the Scorpius Rexes, before it's too late. By falling of the next day, it was time to lure the Scorpius Rexes to their final place, their final destination, their final location, their last known location. They spread the oil through the land, and it's to the center of Main Street. Well, at least near the center of Main Street. Maybe the smoke alone could draw the Scorpius Rex's attention. Rexy gathered all the burnable items she could find. After Rexy gathered all the burnable items she could find, Blue and Indoraptor poured all the gasoline around it. Then Indoraptor lighted up. They backed up, then Indoraptor threw the lighter into the pile. Instantly, it caused a massive fire. On the south, the second Scorpius Rex was eating his meal. Then he turned around and saw the smoke. And he remembered smoke means fire. He instantly started running towards it. And the original Scorpius Rex, on the north side, he was about to make a kill. He was preparing to kill another Ceratosaurus. But then smoke got his attention. And he knows smoke means fire. And he too started running towards it. Now, time for them, for Blue, Indoraptor, and Rexy, to play the waiting game. The trio waited for hours and hours for the two to arrive. But eventually, one of them arrives. Then the second one arrives. Then instantly, the two Scorpiuses started fighting each other. As long as the two kept on fighting each other, they didn't care on who was around them or what was coming. All they were just focused was just fighting each other. Rexy then had the rock as planned. And the Scorpiuses were just dead focused on just fighting each other. That's all they cared about. They didn't just care about what was going on around them or who was coming. All what they were just focused on was just trying to kill the other. But eventually the plan doesn't work out well because a third one appears. This was going to be a bit more complicated than the trio previously expected. They waited too long, and now there's a third one.